Joining us now here in Los Angeles, Jim Moret, chief correspondent for Inside Edition, attorney, and a frequent host of this program. And in New York, Roger Friedman, senior correspondent for The Hollywood Reporter. He blogs at showbiz411.com. What did you make of last night, Jim?
We've been talking about it all day. It was a strange interview. It seems as if he wanted to rehabilitate himself. He said a lot of strange things in the past, and I came away feeling like he fell flat. I really do. I didn't understand what he was trying to say, but whatever it was, it just didn't seem to be working.
I felt frustrated. I guess you can sense
I could see that. You know, you said many times, you're his father. Why haven't you seen his body? Why didn't you know about the autopsy report? You didn't even hear about his death until a fan told you? Those are strange things.
Roger, what was your read?
Larry, I thought you were very deft. You did a great job with him. You just let the two of those guys just talk and talk and talk until they talk themselves into a hole. You know, that guy, Leonard Rowe, the idea that he could have been Michael Jackson's financial advisor for 2 minutes, if you knew the list of things that he's had wrong legally, including at least 2 incarcerations, past bad checks. I mean, he has quite a history in the concert promotion business. And, of course, he's just the kind of guy that Joe Jackson would be aligned with. And then Joe Jackson just lying about everything. And how he could sit there and say he never beat Michael. You know, he had a press conference for about 6 journalists about 8 years ago where we asked him about disciplining his children. And the way he described it was, I beat their backs. I mean, that's how he talks, and that's how he treated those kids. I mean, this is a guy who has no self-awareness at all and seems to have no idea of what his position is in his own family.
During our interview last night, Joe insisted that he made no mistakes in raising Michael. Here's what he said when I asked him about those allegations of abuse. Didn't he once say that you were physically, emotionally abusive to him?
I've never been abusive to him. Never have.
But did he say that? Did he ever say that, to your knowledge?
Well, I don't know whether he said that or not, but I hear the media keep hollering about I abuse him. I never abused my son.
All right, Jim, what?
Hey, look, it's not the media that's accusing him. Michael Jackson said in '93 to Oprah Winfrey in a huge interview, and again 10 years later, in another huge interview, my father beat me. He abused me. This has been out there in the public. Michael Jackson isn't here anymore to refute Joe Jackson's claims. It's been out there in the public. Joe Jackson had his opportunity to refute it. He didn't.
Roger, wasn't that the age, though, he's 80 years old, of spare the rod and spoil the child?
Not exactly. I mean, I have people who worked for the Jacksons in the 70s who talk about how when the kids were rehearsing for the Jackson 5, if Joe didn't like what Michael was doing and Michael was his star, he would lock him in a dark closet until he was ready to take him out. I mean, he not only he harassed, he tortured this kid. And you wonder why Michael Jackson says he couldn't sleep. I mean, if he did die of Diprovan or something where he couldn't sleep and needed extreme medicines to make him sleep, this is why he had nightmares about Joseph Jackson. And this is why Joseph Jackson's not in Michael's will. I mean, that should tell us everything right there.
Yeah. I also asked him about Michael's 3 kids and whether he'd encourage them to go into show business. Watch.
I'm not encouraging them to do nothing. Not of the sort. They have to be what they are, kids at the moment, yes, and be raised properly.
So those rumors that you wanted to tour the Jackson 3...
Not true. That's a bunch of jive. That's a bunch. I wish I could say what I should say, but that's a bunch of bull. Yes, that's a bunch of bull.
You think he wanted to tour the Jackson?
You were very polite with him. He said it himself. He said, boy, that blanket sure can dance. I know Paris wants to do something. I think somebody talked to him, and I think they said, look, you're hurting our ability to have Catherine as the guardian of these kids because someone, possibly Debbie Rowe, is concerned that you're going to insinuate yourself into their lives and do to them what Michael Jackson said he did to Michael.
When we take a break, when we come back, we'll ask Roger about the other fellow who was on the show, Leonard Rowe. Don't go away. Leonard Rowe, a former business associate of Michael's, also appeared on last night's show, highly critical of AEG Live, the promoter for Michael's This Is It concerts. Here's some of what he said.
Michael was being controlled. I was not on AEG payroll. I was not one of their people. They did not want me around Michael Jackson, nor did they want anyone around Michael Jackson that they did not control. Because if they could keep people from around Michael Jackson that was trying to look out for his well-being and people that actually cared about Michael, they could reach their goal of stripping Michael. That's what I truly felt.
Roger, what do you make of that?
All right, these two guys, they're the only ones that anyone was trying to keep away from Michael Jackson. They're the only two people who were kept away. Leonard Rowe and Joseph Jackson actually called me on March 18th. I just looked it up on my cell phone bill. They called me to say, right after the AEG concerts were announced, that they wanted to get involved and take over the concerts. Joe Jackson said to me, he said, I got to get in there and fix this because it's no good. Why was it no good? Because he and Leonard Rowe were not getting a cut of it. Last year, Leonard Rowe was sued successfully by R. Kelly, the singer, for $3.4 million for setting up a fraudulent concert tour. He also had to pay Neo, another R&B singer, $700,000. The guy has an awful reputation. He's not even a concert promoter. He's just a bad guy.
Very clear.
Yeah.
By the way, at our request, AEG sent us a statement addressing a number of assertions made by Joe Jackson and Leonard Rowe. AEG says Michael wanted nothing to do with Rowe and dismissed him. AEG also says Rowe apparently misunderstands the facts with regards to decisions about the This Is It concerts. AEG says Michael Jackson was very much involved in not only selecting and hiring the individuals on his management, business, and medical teams, but also with the creation of the concerts, the scheduling of the performance and rehearsals, development of the merchandise, and other related facets of the show. He determined ultimately who his advisors were, as well as all of the creative content of the concerts.
Yeah, Larry, can I just...
statement, Al.
It is strong. And there's one other point that you have to make. You know, Leonard Rowe said that Michael agreed to 10 concerts and then they made it 50. That's not true at all. They agreed to 31 concerts. They rolled out the first 10. They saw that the response was amazing. They went back to Michael Jackson. They agreed to add another 19, bringing up to 50. Michael Jackson was a very shrewd businessman. I think to suggest that he didn't know he was obligated to do 50 concerts. And they spaced it out over 9 months at his request.
Roger, you were going to say?
I was just going to say about that statement. I just had this today on showbiz411.com. Sony Pictures is going to release a movie. Yeah, I'm giving a good plug. Sony's going to release a movie. They paid $60 million for the rehearsal footage that went on. They had AEG had 100 hours of rehearsal footage, and this movie's going to come out on October 30th, and it's going to show Michael very involved in all aspects of the show, not just doing a moonwalk.
Roger, I also think that deal, though, still has to be approved by the probate judge, which has all these deals. But I think John Branca is the one who negotiated that, right?
Yeah, and the Jackson family, the Jackson estate, not the family, the estate gets 90%, and AEG gets 10%.
Why?
And the film is going to show that Michael was completely in charge of his own faculties.
What keeps the legs going on this show?
There are so many branches to this tree.
The star is gone.
The star is... No, that's not true. There is more music coming out. We're going to hear music from Michael Jackson for years. We're going to see footage. There's one estimate that movie could make $350 million at the box office. People are fascinated by Michael Jackson. He's now been humanized with that horrible footage that we saw of him on fire. We see a different side to this man, and now people are looking at his art, and they're looking at this bizarre soap opera around his life.
Do you think people feel sorry of him based on how his father performs, Roger? Feel sorry for him?
Based on how his father performs?
Yeah, basically looking at his dad and the way he handled himself.
Oh, yeah.
You feel sorry for Michael?
I think people feel sorry for Michael, and maybe for all the kids. I think they're starting to understand what Michael and LaToya and some of the other kids have said over the years about what was going on in that house. It always seemed unreal, but now it's very real.
Jim, they're going to make a lot of money, though, now, right? They'll make more money now than when he was alive.
Well, and the sad truth is that there's no one spending the money that he was spending, so everything that accumulates, it's all income. It's sad, but it's riveting. You're riveted every night. You say, no more, and then you're here.
I'm here. I fight it, but I lose. Thanks, Roger. Roger Friedman, senior correspondent for The Hollywood Reporter, and Jim Moret, chief correspondent for Inside Edition. Jim is also, by the way, an attorney.